As we come into the colder winter months, it's important to think about home safety and some updates for your home because, as we know, every year house fires claim thousands of lives and cause millions of dollars in damage. And so joining us today is Vito Melli from VLD Electric in Mount Pocono. Vito, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Great to be here.
And you also brought with you some examples of some things that have gone wrong with some sockets.
Yeah, unfortunately, these issues here. So what happens is a lot of times people don't think about their electrical system until there's a failure. So the best thing to do is actually to prevent it is to have a qualified electrician come in here and maintain your electrical system. Once a year, this should be checked. It's a vital part of your home. So what happens is, here's one example that the jaws here got loosened up, and as you plug things in, it causes arcing and melting and potential fires. So what we always recommend is your panel to be checked, everything tightened down, because we all know that heat and metal expands and contracts, and then it causes loose connections which turn into fires. Space heaters are a heavy draw, and so if you do have some sort of slight failure in your system, a loose connection or something to that matter, with that heavy draw going on, it's more potential to have a fire, such as an outlet like this that melted pretty badly.
So what are the guidelines for space heaters? Is there a certain number of feet that they should be away from bedding or curtains?
Right, of course you should always refer to the owner's manual because they'll definitely tell you their manufacturer's specifications. But usually rule of thumb is, number one, don't use an extension cord, and number two, 6 inches away from any flammable items. And again, those space heaters are really a temporary solution, and it's not something that should be used constantly. It's just a temporary fix. Yeah.
Also, people sometimes have a tendency to put one extension cord into another, so they have 6 of them together. That's not right either, right?
Yeah, definitely not. That's a good way to overload your circuit, and then your breaker will constantly be tripping. Find out what the source is of the issue, and definitely call in a professional to come in and maybe add a couple of receptacles in your home so you're not plugging one into another.
What about ground fault? Well, I've heard about that, but what is that?
Okay, so a ground fault is a ground fault circuit interrupter, and it's used for anywhere where there's a damp location, water, such as kitchens, bathrooms, and outside. It prevents people from being shocked. So if there's a malfunction in a cord or an appliance or something that you're plugging into, it will prevent you from being electrocuted. You should test it once a month, and if it's not resetting, call a professional to have it replaced.
Right, because you can't just reset the breaker constantly. That means something's wrong. It's a sign.
That's correct, absolutely.
And let's just talk about smoke detectors for a minute.
Okay, so smoke detectors are definitely your first line of defense. You should definitely replace the batteries once a year, test them once a month. And then also, a lot of these newer homes, they have integrated smoke detectors, so when one goes off, you notice that all of them go off. They should be changed every like 8 to 10 years because they do need to be replaced. Just like anything else, things wear down and they're not functioning to its full potential.
All right, well, it's good to have the advice of somebody who's been in the business for a couple decades, so thank you so much, Vito.
Thank you for having us, appreciate it.
Sure, and if you'd like more information, you can go to vldelectric.com.